We're so programmed in the UK and probably the world now to eat, sleep, work, repeat. Across the UK, more individuals are exploring flexible roles, they're consulting, they're doing part-time work. The key takeaway really is that retirement doesn't have to be a... What if I told you that traditional retirement was dead? And that the idea of clocking out at 66 and never working again is simply unrealistic or not desirable for most people. Well, here's why. The rising living costs play a part, longer lifespans definitely play a part, and the changing pension landscape means that those so-called golden years might not look the way we once imagined. And the truth is that most people are quietly worried. Will their savings last? Can they travel as much as they'd like? Can they pursue the hobbies they always dreamed of? Or even just live comfortably without having to work? But look, there is a twist. A growing number of people are flipping that script, not retiring, but unretiring. So stick around, because in the back half of this video, I'm going to share the unexpected benefit people are finding by returning to work. So let's dive into the unretirement trend and what it might mean for you and your future. Now, for many of us, the idea of finishing work at 66, which is the current earliest state pension age, and simply relaxing for the rest of our lives no longer feels realistic, and in some ways it's not also very appealing. You've got rising living costs, you've got longer life expectancy, as I've said, and definitely changes to pensions. They've all made it clear that those so-called golden years might actually just be a dull shade of yellow. Now, many people are quietly worried about whether their savings are going to last, whether they'll be able to travel, pursue hobbies, or whether they'll even be able to live comfortably without the structure of a job. But at the other end of the scale, and this includes me, I really do not want to have to work until I'm 66. I mean, what if my health fails by then? I might even have less time for my bucket list entries, less time with me grandkids, and to do all of the things that I just didn't have time to do whilst I was grafting. Now, that's where easing into retirement comes in, dropping days gradually. But we cover a lot of that in other YouTubes. This video really is about the opposite in many respects. Now, it is a big shift to think differently about work and money at the best of times. We're so programmed in the UK and probably the world now to eat, sleep, work, and repeat, but it's even more of a mindset change in retirement, and a change that many of us didn't anticipate when we were younger. This has led people to rethink what retirement actually means, and to consider that work might continue to play an important role even after mainstream full-time employment actually ends. And this is really where unretirement comes in. Rather than leaving the workforce entirely, many people are choosing to stay engaged in work in some capacity, or return to working after a period of rest, but on their own terms. Across the UK, more individuals are exploring flexible roles, they're consulting, they're doing part-time work, more creative projects, or even starting small businesses. That's actually really common. And it's not just about earning money at this point. Many find that continuing to share their skills and experience gives them a sense of purpose, helps them maintain social connections, and keeps their minds active. It can be incredibly fulfilling to use the skills you've spent decades building in new, special ways, or maybe even just mentor others who are just starting out. So, have you considered what type of work might bring you real enjoyment and a new sense of purpose if you had the chance to give it a go? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Now, traditionally, retirement planning has focused almost exclusively on pensions and savings. With unretirement, the focus shifts to achieving financial independence in a way that gives you more choice and flexibility, and perhaps more opportunity for self-fulfillment compared to when you were working the 9 to 5 for somebody else. This might mean finding different ways to earn money using the skills and experience you've built up over your career. It could be teaching, it could be consulting, or pursuing creative projects that generate an income whilst still giving you the freedom to choose your hours. It could also mean planning a gradual reduction in hours, allowing your lifestyle and finances to evolve naturally instead of stopping work all of a sudden. Now, many people find this approach reduces a bit of stress because they're not relying entirely on a pension or savings pot, nor are they relying completely on a salary to come in, and it allows them to continue contributing in meaningful ways. Some even find that having multiple streams of income can give them the confidence to take on new projects that they really care about without worrying so much about money. Unretirement is not without its challenges though. Juggling multiple projects can be tiring and mentally straining. It's important to be aware of the risk of burnout. Healthcare is generally covered by the NHS, but some people consider taking out private healthcare for additional security at that point in their lives. Freelance or consulting work also affects national insurance contributions and income tax, so be mindful of that. Whilst the legal age at which you can start claiming your state pension doesn't change, your entitlement depends on having built up enough qualifying years of national insurance contributions. If your freelance income is irregular or below certain thresholds, you might miss those contributions, which can delay or reduce your full state pension entitlement. So just be mindful of that when you're making your plans. Now, on a positive side, the benefits can be significant. People often find they've got a lot more control over their time, something that you never get any more of. More opportunities to reinvent themselves, for example, and the satisfaction of doing work that matches their lifestyles and their values. There's also a mental and social boost, I think, to continuing to contribute, and it can be hugely rewarding to see the impact of your experience and skills on other people, certainly when they're youngsters. Sometimes, and can you imagine this, folks find themselves jumping out of bed again, eager to make the most of every brand new sunrise, rather than wearing out the snooze button. Now, we understand how much this next chapter means to you. That's why we'd like to offer you a free, no obligation financial review with one of our expert planners if you would like. We'll listen to your goals, we'll take a deep dive into your finances and help you create a plan so you can step into unretirement or full-time retirement with peace of mind. Click the link in the description down there, find a time and date that works for you, and let's make retirement a serious project. We genuinely look forward to speaking with you as soon as we can. Now, if you're thinking about your own future whilst you're listening to me warble on, there are practical steps that you can take. You might start, for example, by exploring opportunities to use your skills in different ways. Keeping your skills sharp and relevant can often open doors to opportunities you might not even have considered. Speaking to an FCA authorised advisor, such as one of the guys and girls at Reeves, can help you understand those options and paint a new, very vibrant picture of unretirement. It can also be helpful to start gradually. Trying a new project alongside your current work before making any major changes allows you to test what will work for you. The goal, of course, is to give yourself more flexibility and choice whilst you're making sure your finances remain secure. It's about creating that pathway that gives you control and purpose at the same time. Now, here's an example. I saw a Facebook post from one of my friends a couple of months ago with a picture of him inside the back of a white van with a big smile on his face and a drill in his hand. Now, that conjured up lots of weird visions, I've got to tell you, but it turns out he's taken his British Gas pension early and bought a van to convert into a camper and sell on. He's using the skills he's learned in the trade to make a couple of grand, and he thinks he can do one conversion a month. He's loving the more relaxed pace of life and he's earning as he goes. The key takeaway really is that retirement doesn't have to be a hard stop or forever. Unretirement shows that it's possible to create a future that combines financial security, purpose, and flexibility. By planning carefully, experimenting safely, and seeking professional guidance, you can design a next chapter that could be even more rewarding than you imagined. Now, if this video has sparked any ideas, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Anybody who's thinking about what retirement could look like, really. And if you've got your own vision for your next chapter, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Your story might inspire somebody else who's reading and watching to think differently about their future. If we all work together, life will be better. Now, if you're thinking about retiring sooner and you're wondering how much income you'll actually need, the next video is great for you. We're going to break down what it really takes to retire early. So if you click here, we'll see you there.